excited to present our next speaker. It's Oren Golan, former VP of Engineering at Sanguine, and he's going to give us an introduction to graph databases. Hey guys. So I'm just going to talk to you about the journey that we went through at Sanguine Bio, startup in the medical industry in Sherman Oaks. And it's a journey of discovering a new world that really helped us and hopefully will help you. Or at least open your eyes to new opportunities and new possibilities of storing your data. Maybe I'll ask first to understand the audience, who here used any kind of graph database, whether testing or production, it doesn't really matter. Maybe 10? 7. Not many of you, so that's a good talk for you guys. I have some pieces of code. I don't know if I'll have time for it because it's only 30 minutes, so we'll see how we roll. Also, there's time for Q&A at the end, but I think I prefer the questions right when I speak because it's more chaotic and crazy, so feel free to ask whatever and interrupt me and destroy my talk. I like it, so this kind of weird thing. So, yeah. So everything that you see here is available on my website, all the slides. Feel free to tweet funny tweets, funny slides, and I like feedback. So shoot me an email, tell me that I suck, or whatever you think about my talk. Oh, yeah. So we have a swag for you guys. It's mini kaki. If you guys don't know what mini kaki is, you're going to get a surprise. It's awesome. So I have a few questions. I'm going to ask them, and whoever will raise his hand first, we're going to get this awesome thing from Chucky. We had a talk a while ago. I said Angular is dead. I had a video on YouTube. I didn't want to put it on YouTube. I didn't want to put it, like, publish it or tweet about this stuff. And my buddy told me, "Hey, Oren, your YouTube has like 20,000 views." I'm like, "No way! I never tweet. Like, how come? Why don't you enable comments?" And I did. So I have a very thick skin. So yeah, shoot me an email with how I can make this talk better and how I can convey my message better. So, and you know, if you want to have thick skin, just go to a conference. It was an Angular JS meetup in LA. So give a talk in a meetup about the technology. Tell them that it's dead, and you're gonna get a lot of angry people. That's the agenda. Basically, what's the use case for graph databases? How are they different than traditional databases that most people know about? And then I'm going to tell you about a few databases that we explored during our last year and a half. And then we're going to play with two of them, mainly the last one. Anybody knows what's this guy in the middle? Any guess? Nobody knows? What's the most used or dependent library on Linux or Ubuntu? libc6, I believe. The kernel developers. So just one example of like what you can do with graphs and the values. Logistics, airplanes, Internet of Things. If you think about, you have a drone and you have your fridge and you have a bunch of hundreds of devices and they need to communicate between each other. Sometimes they should not communicate. So think about it as two nodes and an edge, and the edge can be whether they're authorized to communicate. If in the future your fridge will know that you're missing, you need more milk, the drone will come, deliver the milk. It means communication between the milk and the refrigerator and the drone. Whenever the milk arrives, there's no more communication, so you can map it with edges and nodes in a graph. Fraud detection, there's a bunch of bad companies that are already using graphs to detect abnormal activity that they want to alert you about. And in biology, right? So for cancer treatment and mapping the expansion of cancer cells in your body, for example, it's pretty good fit for graphs. And that's our brain, basically connected nodes with a big giant graph. So let's talk about the advantages of graph databases. Anybody knows what's the name of this guy here on the right? Who said Finn? Good. Your lucky day. Can somebody give him a copy? Can you help us? Thank you. It works both on a crusty or slimy. Nobody knows what I'm talking about. Right. You're crusty? Yeah, you're good. So basically, even though the name relational database had the word relation databases are not that great to map relationships. And it seems like graphs are naturally way better to map relationships. I'll show you why if you want. But another advantage is whiteboard friendly. You can talk to the product team and just draw on a whiteboard your data store, and you can have good communication. And it's not like with tables, for example, like you show tables to your product guy, like what the hell is going on there? Like what are those foreign keys? Like it's kind of matching reality. And actually, product team can draw it. You don't need to be technical, basically, to draw relationships. That's kind of one thing. That's your typical SQL. You have a lot of tables. It's like, what is going on here? I don't want to know. Disgusting. That's not a really funny joke. Don't take a picture of it, please. He's taking a picture of it. So let's say anything about it. Oh, that's a funny joke. I guess. You guys are a weird audience. What the hell is going on? All the funny jokes are not funny. This is completely messed up. So performance. So if you think about social network, you want to hop between nodes or people, friend of a friend of a friend, 5 levels, right? If you're going to do it with joins and the MySQL or relational database, you're going to lose performance pretty radically, exponentially almost. And if you do it with graph database, it's pretty much linear regression. You can try it on your laptop and you see it. Sometimes you just wait forever on a relational database. Flexibility. So anybody knows who this guy is? What's his name? You already got one. Dude, nobody's watching this TV show? The cartoon? You have dirty stuff there, huh? Can you help? Thank you. So I'll show you what I mean by flexibility. Crusty too? So let's say you have this king that has a crush on this princess. Bubblegum, by the way. How do you map it with relational database? You're going to have a table, right? Yeah, makes sense. How would you do it with graph database? You have 2 nodes and an edge. And you put crush on. That's cool. Now your business changed, right? And king likes another person. He has another crush. So you need to change your data structure, right? In a relational model, you're probably going to have another table. You're going to have the character ID. You can have 2 crushes, right? It's required to change your model. With graph, you just add another edge and then node, right? So it's pretty flexible. Think about more changes that you might have in your business that require many relationships. Now you introduce another table that will map them. So what I'm saying is that the cost and the time that you're going to spend because of business change is minimized using graph database. That's basically, I wasn't sure if this is going to be funny, but you're an easy crowd to please. So there's this whole kind of tension between, it's not just dev and DBA, it can be QA and dev. And so I feel that at least from our experience that just let your developers kind of design the schema and become DBA. Some of them, one of the developers will discover that you really like databases, and he might be more DB kind of DBA person, but he's still going to be part of your team. If you think about the whole lean manufacturing and Scrum and Agile, the whole idea of a team that can execute and complete the feature shows scientifically that it reduces the time it takes to build features because you don't need to reach out to external team. So it's a good advantage, I believe, for graphs. So what are the graphs out there? There's a ton of them. So I just focused on the kind of like 3 graphs that are, I think, the dominant players. That's from Wikipedia, pretty boring definition. Graph database is graph structures for semantic queries with nodes, edges, and properties to represent and store data. So those are the 3 that I want to briefly talk about. TypeDB, Kali, and Neo4j. By the way, is there any questions you want to ask? Or?
Any Microsoft Graph database?
I don't know, but I'm sure they have something, right? Microsoft. Anybody knows about Microsoft Graph database? No. Okay.
Is this open source?
They are all open source, different licenses, but yeah, they're all open source.
What about transactional data? How does that work with the concept of graph?
Great question. It's very hard to do transactions, and I think that I believe that none of them have transactions actually. But I mean, it's a which one? Titan transactions. Wonder if anybody knows about Neo4j? All right. Does Neo have transactions? No. Okay. Should look at those. So that's Neo4j. That's I wrote down the first commit, the oldest one out of those three, written in Java. It's called a property graph. Property graph is a graph that has you can have key values on the edges and also on the nodes. Right? That's why it's called a property graph. Pluggable backend, I'll explain later on what it is, but basically Neo4j comes with its own database, data store. You can change it. They have two kind of query languages, one called Gremlin, and one is a newer one they're trying to push called Cypher. Cypher is pretty cool. It looks like, I'll show you guys. Hopefully they have internet. How much time do I have? Okay, so it's kind of like an ASCII art thingy. So you can map everything with those notation. There's a lot of stuff here, so that's the idea. You can see it can look more complex to get used to it. So that's yeah, that's the Gremlin. Gremlin is a little bit different. So graphical traversal, there's another one. Here, G.V, basically will return all the vertices, all the nodes in the graph. I can say, hey, go to the out, all the arrows that goes outside, or maybe inside. There's a ton of stuff here. But that's kind of like Gremlin. So just need to know for now, you have those two options. Most people, I think, use Cypher for Neo. That's the, what else is interesting here? License and price. Basically, Neo4j you can get for free the community edition, but it's only on one machine, one server. If you want to scale to multiple machine with some clustering and master slave, you need to pay for the enterprise edition. There's a company behind it. There's a ton of pretty big community, and I like to use the TT time to first TT or whatever you say, time to first hello world. It's pretty fast to set it up basically. That's Titan. There was a recent blog post by the CTO of Amazon. They're actually using Titan. And I believe that for tracking what happened to a purchase that you make. Where is it exactly? There's like a big state machine. They want to know where it is, so they're using DynamoDB. It's also in Java. It's also property graph. Notice that you have pluggable backends. So you can switch to Cassandra. You can switch recently to Amazon DynamoDB as the storage. It's kind of like the MySQL storage engine. Similar idea. It's more flexible. It's a little bit harder than the Neo to get around it or to understand it because the docs are a little bit weird. It's not as polished in terms of documentation. Apache license, and there's a company that are doing consulting and helping. Size of the community is medium, less than Neo4j. And this is my favorite actually, Katie. So this one is in Go, so it's just an executable. I don't know if you guys use Go, but it's compiled. Just throw executable on your server. It's very tiny. Some people are building it to work on your mobile phone with some bunch of framework that can let you use it as a local storage on your phone. It has multiple pluggable backends, so you can use LevelDB or VoltDB. Very, very fast key value that is stored to the drive, but that's going to be local to your hard drive. So if your data is more than this, more than one hard drive, you want to scale it, you can use Postgres or Mongo. There's a PR that somebody sent a while ago for CockroachDB. There's a bunch of them. Also App Engine or the Google the Google has like on their cloud, they have like a cloud storage. I think you can use. It's not going to be super performant, but I think it's possible. And it was created by a guy that used to work at a startup that was acquired by Google. And he worked on the knowledge graph at Google. So when you're using an Android and you say, hey, hey Google now, I want pizza delivered to Glendale, it's using some similar technology that Kaylee is using. So he took the idea and put it open source, and he changed the language from C++ to Go. It's more approachable for engineers to help. Go is fairly easier to learn.
Question.
Yep.
For the pluggable backends, do they end up taking on the scalability of the backend or the consistency of the backend that you're using? So it just varies depending on the implementation.
Exactly. So if you're, if you use Postgres, you can just put it on RDS, right? On Amazon or whatever, and then it's pretty much done. You don't even care about backups or scaling it. Amazon will take care of it for you. It really depends on your need. Many people, what they're doing is they're using it for testing, they're using PostDB because it's super fast. It means it's an embedded database. It's embedded within the process. And then for anything, actually you use RDS or Postgres. Yeah, pretty cool community. And actually, a few days ago, we just created a new website, and we, meaning the people that are the community. And we have a new forum. It's discourse.kali.io. And an hour ago, actually, one of the lead, Barak, just posted an amazing kind of like overview of query languages for graph databases, and basically the different standards, STARQL, and basically what influenced him to create the Kali query language, which is very similar to Gremlin actually. Pretty good read. I didn't have time to read it because just posted it like an hour ago. So, yeah.
One more question about the three players.
Yeah.
Neo4j touts itself as having a unique physical data storage structure where the nodes are stored right next to each other, particularly on Drizzle. And so with these other ones that have the pluggable backend, do they still have the same performance characteristics? And how do they get around that problem?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would assume that there is some performance hit. I don't know how big and how crucial it is to the application. I would assume so. Yeah. I haven't tested it myself. It's a good thing to do. I don't know if anybody did it. Like, performance testing of those three. Yeah. All right. So I guess that's it. Kali, what I like about Kali is literally 1 minute to set it up, and I can maybe show you. We'll have time. Neo4j. Let's show you briefly what's going on there. I gave a talk about something in Canada. I want to look at the tweets, and people are moving from the US to Canada because of this guy, because the way he looks, and then people are pissed in Canada because people are moving, so they're moving back to the US. So I wanted to map it into a graph. So that's the website for Neo4j. I guess I'm just going to skip it. I don't have time for the entire video, but all those videos are available in my slides. That's how it looks like, right? So you can run pretty cool queries. I want to see everybody that lives in the US in love with Justin, that's Prime Minister, and is moving to Canada, right? So you can do it with a cipher or with a Gremlin query. All right, Kali time. So if you remember, we had this scenario. So the way Kali works, you have these files you can create, and it's called a quad file. You can put in these file lines. Each line will create a node edge and another node for you. And it's basically, it's called a subject, a predicate, and an object. And what's important here is that this will be unique, the subject. So this, I wrote icing using a character just for me to be human readable, and icing can be a unique ID in your application. So your application generate those unique IDs. Right now, K doesn't do it for you, so you just generate your ID, and then you can put whatever you want as a predicate. Then you can put here another node. Kali will know, if Kali will see this again, it will know it's the same node. Don't tell him that it's a new node, just knows it. So that's how you define those related to those quad files. That's an example of a query. So the first piece, the t.v and then character theme, is kind of like where to start your search from. And it's important because you don't want to search, get billions of nodes, you don't want to search the entire database, right? So in this case, I'm saying start from this guy, from this node, the character icing. Then I want to say do the traversal. So in this case, I'm doing out. All the edges go outside of this guy, basically, that has crush on it. And the result is those guys. Maybe that's another one. Anybody that has a crush on bubblegum. So now I'm using the in, right? So I'm starting from free scout bubblegum, and any arrow that goes to her, and the result is ice. You can see anything here, but that's an entire kind of like database I created. It's called db.nq. It's a file, and that's the command to load it into the graph. Maybe I'll show you quickly. So see here, I have this file. That's the config file. You can define what's your storage engine is. In this case, I want to use BoltDB because it's fast. And that's a database. It's a single file for BoltDB. And you're responsible for actually doing the backups for both. Right now, it's not part of Kali. So we need to make sure that you don't put your data if your server is down. Now, the command to initialize it is init. As soon as I do this, you will see that I have this file here called venturetime.db. Right? And now I'm going to load my data. Actually, let's show the load command. Okay, I just loaded the data. And I want to show you the quad file. Okay, so you can see here that the first piece, right, is each one is a quad, right? So I have thin is type human, right? And I'm using type because unlike Neo4j, you don't have properties. You don't find key values on the nodes or the edges. So if I want to find all the humans, right, I need to have this extra quad. Everything is very, very simple, very basic building blocks, but it's also very flexible. And then you can define all the characters and all the relationships between them. So let's just run it. I have two options. I can use the REPL or the HTTP interface. So I'm going to run it to the HTTP interface, which is this guy. And it's running on this port. Let's open it. Already open, actually. Go here. Okay. This is the query that I'm going to run. It's actually it's like a JavaScript-like environment. It's some library in Go that kind of like give you like a JavaScript VM, some sort of. You can have like in this case the variables, right? So I want to get all the headers that live with BMO. It's one of the characters together, basically. So it's intersection, right? So I'm running it, and I'm getting finish shape. It's also query shape. It's not very nice, but we're trying to make React now to change the UI and maybe use some visualization tools. It's pretty ugly right now, but it gives you something here. Move it around. So why would you not do it? But basically this guy here. Find all the headers that lives with demo. You see? So that's what we did. So it's pretty flexible, pretty cool. There's a few features that are coming. We move on. So in a pipeline, like in the next few weeks, one is the type quad values. So right now it's all strings, but it would be nice to have like integer and dates and stuff. So we're adding this stuff. Updating nodes. Right now you have to append everything, delete nodes yourself. Update will be also added. Aggregation, instead of you doing using JavaScript to insert into variables and do that aggregation on the application side, you will be able to do it with the Kali stuff. And partial matching is what you know from MySQL or SQL like, maybe even regex kind of search. That's coming in the next hopefully few weeks. I just play with it and it was fairly easy. Because it's so small, the footprint for Kali, you can just put it on tiny devices like Raspberry Pi if you want. It's a demo, I'm going to play it now. If you want to learn more, there's a new website. There's nothing on it right now, but work in progress. Literally, there's nothing there. No need to show you. You saw the forum already. IRC, it's pre-node. Sorry, we're not using Slack because reasons. GitHub, it was actually part of Google, because he was a Google guy. So up until a week ago, it was under Google, but the license was weird. If you want to contribute, you had to like sign a weird Google agreement. We were able to put it out of Google, so now get a lot of traction in the last few weeks. People contributing, so it's going to be part of a bunch of videos. That's it. Cool. Yeah, just 4 minutes to questions. Yeah. Disadvantages. First is that it's not as popular. So you need to do a lot of research yourself to find answers, right? So in terms of popularity, Neo4j is your best bet. Most popular one, the most well documented, but you know, you have the cost that you need to think of when you use it. Other than this, it's not very well known. The query can be a little bit challenging in the beginning. Yeah. Okay, so the question was, is there a tool to convert tabular into graph? I'm not aware of one, but I don't know. Good question.